quiet, picturesque town, nestled by the sea, where the whispers of the past linger in the air. But beneath the surface of this idyllic setting lies a dark and twisted tale of paranoia, betrayal, and death. Today we're uncovering a chilling chapter in American history. The Salem Witch Trials. If you were to walk through Salem, Massachusetts today, you'd find a charming commuter town with leafy streets and traditional weatherboard houses. Ships bob peacefully in the harbour, and Wiccan shops like the Cauldron and Covens Cottage beckon tourists with their spellbooks and crystals. But behind this tranquil facade, the name Salem is inextricably linked to one of the darkest events in American history, the witch trials of 1692. It all began with two young girls, Betty Parris, just 9 years old, and her cousin Abigail Williams, aged 11. Living in a Puritan household, they exhibited strange behaviours, fits, screaming, and even barking like dogs. As their oddities escalated, the town's fear grew. What could possibly explain such bizarre behaviour? Surely it must be witchcraft. Enter Reverend Samuel Parris, Betty's father. As a deeply religious man, he turned to prayer, but when his daughter continued her antics, hiding under furniture and writhing in pain, he called for help. A doctor and fellow minister, John Hale, examined the girls, reporting that they were being tormented by invisible agents. Panic set in, and accusations began to fly. The first to be accused was Tituba, the family's enslaved woman. Then, Sarah Good, a homeless woman, and Sarah Osborne, an elderly woman, were also targeted. These three were powerless to defend themselves, lacking social standing or wealth. In a society where vulnerability was fatal, the witch hunt spiraled out of control. But Tituba did something unexpected. In an attempt to save herself, she spun a tale of demonic possession and dark pacts, claiming to have seen a man in black who forced her to sign the Devil's Book. Her confession sent shockwaves through Salem and turned the town into a cauldron of hysteria as neighbours turned on one another, fueled by fear and suspicion. As the madness grew, more accusations followed, with even children joining the fray. The youngest to be accused was 5-year-old Dorothy Good, the daughter of Sarah Good. While she was released, her mother was hanged, demonstrating the depths of the hysteria. George Burroughs, a minister, stood accused despite his high status. In his final moments on the gallows, he recited the Lord's Prayer perfectly, something witches supposedly couldn't do, but it didn't save him. The crowd watched, entranced by the spectacle. So what drove this collective madness? Life in 17th century Salem was fraught with tension. Settlers faced threats from Native Americans and struggled with the harsh realities of colonial life. Puritan sermons warned of the devil lurking beyond their doors. This fear made them ripe for action. The Salem witch trials ultimately claimed the lives of 30 individuals, 14 women and 5 men, executed for witchcraft. Interestingly, no witches were burned at the stake in Salem. Instead, hangings were the method of choice. However, one man, Giles Corey, faced a more gruesome fate, crushed to death for refusing to enter a plea. By the end of this dark chapter, the fervour died down. Petitions were filed for the release of those wrongfully convicted, and by 1702, the trials were declared unlawful. In 2001, Massachusetts finally exonerated all accused witches, acknowledging the grave injustices of the past. The Salem witch trials serve as a stark reminder of the dangers of fear, hysteria, and mob mentality. They highlight how a community can turn on itself, driven by paranoia and superstition. Today, as we walk the streets of Salem, let us remember those who suffered during this dark period. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the past. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications on our next deep dive into history's mysteries.